Hey guys, welcome to Tiny House Customs. I'm Dan. This is part 2, but it is the beginning of my actual build of my front door. In this video, I will be ripping all this material down to rough lengths and getting it ready to start doing stuff to it. Okay? If you want to jump ahead and watch this entire series, please consider going over to my Patreon account, which is linked in the description below, and making a small contribution to my channel. All that money goes back into projects that I do for you, as well as hopefully on a second builds. So let's get started on this project. So yesterday I filmed all day, and I went and took all the video and I put it into my computer last night, and I learned that about 25% of my video didn't have audio, and I've since learned that my camera audio input is broken, so I can no longer use my lapel mic or my wireless microphone.
Get on with the story, dude. This video sucks already.
So I'm just going to go back and quickly discuss what I did all the way up to the point where my audio kicks back on. It's going to end up turning into like a voiceover on the video of me actually doing the work that I did. I went to Best Buy to go and buy a new camera. I was just going to get the cheapest one they had. They got like a GoPro that's like $129, but it's got a permanent battery installed. You can't take it out, and I don't believe it has an audio in. I have been eyeing a camera that I want to buy to make my channel a lot better and some audio and stuff like that. Now, I priced it out as extremely expensive, and I won't be purchasing all that stuff until my YouTube earnings have reached a certain point, and by the rate things are going, it might be about 6 months till I can get what I really want to use. So if the audio is absolutely horrible, I'm working on it. I really want to get another camera, but that camera right here that I'm filming with is $400, and I'm not going to spend another $400 on a camera that I'm going to replace in a few months. So if you would just bear with me on the audio for a couple more videos, and hopefully I'll have a nice bye-bye to this camera and a hello to a nice Canon 70D with a wide-angle lens and a absolutely beautiful microphone system and a nice tripod. Oh, a 64 gigabyte memory drive, extra batteries. So real quick, this is just my temporary shop that I set up. I've got a bunch of lights, so you'll be able to see pretty good. I set up my chop saw on a really crappy table so that I can make some semi-decent cuts. I've got my table saw. I got all the tools that go with the table saw up on the beam here, plus all the hand tools that I need, power tools, stuff like that I'm going to need. Also installed some 20 amp outlets, put 2 here and 2 there, so I have enough power to run everything I need to. This is all my wood I'm going to be using. I got a bunch of 3/4, which will be my jamb that goes around the door. It'll be the beadboarding, not the beadboarding, it'll be some of the filler in the bottom of the door. And then I got this 2x12. Let's start with the voiceover. Alright, I'm just going to talk and then we're going to hope it's good. So the first thing I needed to do was rip my 2x12 down to roughly 5.5 inches. So I sent that board through the saw, and I ripped 2 pieces, and I ended up with like a scrap piece, and I'll save that scrap piece for later. Then I took those pieces over to the chop saw, and I cut them to roughly the finished length. They'll definitely need to get cut again, but I wanted to get them to a manageable size. And now we are finally back up to, I believe, where the audio kicked back on. Audio finally worked. Now, because boards dry from the ends, they normally paint the ends so that it won't crack, but obviously you're going to get some checking, I think that's called. And then also, when I had these planed down, the planer put a groove in this right here. So I'm going to cut this off right here so the crack's out and that's off. But I'm going to check multiple times, because this is literally a $70 piece right here. So I squared up that end. Now I'm going to cut these down to roughly the length that I'm going to go with. The finished length is what, 79.25. I'm going to go 82 right now. Before I start cutting, I'm going to make sure that this is tight all the way along the back side of the saw. And I'm also going to look underneath, because this table isn't the best one that you could ever build, but I'm going to make sure it's sitting flat on that. I'm going to really push it down into this corner right here and make sure it's tight, and then slowly cut it. By slowly cutting it, I'm making sure I'm not getting any burns. If the saw started binding, I would get a burn on this, and it would be near impossible to remove the burn.
That reminds me of the time that girl burnt you. You still ain't over that one.
Some pretty beautiful stuff. This is definitely not old growth. That is a very new tree. That's my first piece of scrap. It's probably $1 right there. I'm going to label everything so I can keep track of it right now. At a certain point, though, they'll become obvious as to what piece they are. So I got my top and my bottom. This will be my middle piece, and this is my base. The base I'm going to still have to do a little more ripping to, and these still need some pretty big mortise and tenons put in them. Because I needed a piece for the base that's longer, so it goes from the jamb to the jamb, I had to do a smaller middle piece. So the mortise and tenon in the middle piece isn't going to go as deep as the top and the bottom. But this is where I'll get most of my strength, is these two pieces here. This one piece of wood right here was $150. Most expensive piece of wood I've ever purchased in my life. So now that I got all my boards roughly cut down to length, I'm going to put a dado in them. A dado? A dado. So to do this project, I had to buy this table saw. This table saw was, I believe, $329. I got a 10% discount because I bitched to the manager and they gave me 10% off. So I think it was like $300 for the table saw. I bought some blades. Those blades were $50. I got a fine tooth blade in it now. I also got a coarser tooth blade, which I'll probably put in when I cut rough stuff. Now, since I need to put a groove in these boards, I also bought a dado stack. This was $89 plus tax, and then I had to order this piece right here. A lot of guys will make something like this. I'm not that skilled, or I don't want to freaking make one. So I got this piece right here, which this pops out and this pops in here. Now I need to put a 3/4 inch groove into these boards, and this table saw will only allow you to do a 1/2 inch dado. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up for a 1/2 inch dado stack. Then I'm going to set this guide up on one side of the blade, and I will take a scrap piece and I'll run it through one direction, I'll flip it and run it through the other direction, so that it makes it exactly 3/4 in the center. So on the back of this this card right here, it'll tell me what kind of configuration I need to get the 1/2 inch. So I need clippers C. I don't know what the f that means. I don't need a spacer. I need 2 clippers. Really? Unplug your table saw. I'm going to raise the blade all the way up. Use these handy dandy tools. Again, the saw has been unplugged, so safety sallies, chill out. Made in Italy. Always use safety glasses. What the f are those? Alright, there's one. Are these clippers or what are they? So there's these really thick ones right here. I'm going to assume that these are spacers. And then there's a bunch of these really thin ones. I'm going to assume those are shims. So it says I need both blade A and B, as well as 2 clippers. I'm going to assume these are clippers. Now when you install these things, from what I've learned, is you don't want any of the carbide teeth to come in contact with any of the chippers, clippers, spacers, shims, all those damn words that they've decided to teach me. Holy shit. I'm actually scared to turn this thing on. I think it was off there.
What was the point of this episode? It really was sucked. I mean, you didn't even do anything that was like cool. It really sucked. I'm unsubscribing.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. In the next video, I'll be doing the groove that goes into all these pieces, which hold these beadboard, also hold the window and all that stuff. Make sure you leave your questions down below, and at the end of this series, I will be doing a question and answer video on this topic. Is that it for that? Yes. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to my channel and you like these kind of videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Alright, I'll see you again on Thursday, maybe. Unless I got my days screwed up. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. That's 2. I gotta do that. I gotta do that 20 more times. And the lens is dirty. You're just gonna film with a dirty lens? Like you don't even care.
You don't care anymore, Dad. You can clearly see.
Golly. Ooh. I get like a cleaning a year on this camera for like 3 years. I'm gonna bring it in and they're gonna be like, what the hell did you do to this thing? It's really dirty. Like it's dirty.